Ladies and gentlemen, the ANC desperately needs whites to fix what the ANC has broken. The question is, if you're white, should you go help them?
So this is a story that Acc needs retired engineers to go back and help the municipality. Problem is, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know any black engineers that are 65 and retired. We all know that the aged infrastructure was originally built by apartheid agents, which basically means if you're retired, you're probably going to be white, and chances are you're an engineer with a shitload of skill, and the ANC needs you to help them fix their mess.
And it's not only Etiquette, which is Durban, by the way, that's the official name that we're going to call it on this channel. The city of Joburg, after the phenomenal gas explosion thing that happened in Joburg during the course of last week, the city of Joburg has now put up a call to engineers, gas leak experts, and civil engineers to come help fix the issue on Bree Street. So, Byron, how on earth did we get to this place where these municipalities employ hundreds of thousands of people, but they can't fix the most basic stuff?
As we know, when the ANC came into power, they embarked on a BEE strategy to replace the existing skill with a new black middle class. The result of it was this, and that is that all the skill, all the ideas, the plans, the infrastructure experts that were there suddenly found themselves unemployed. Those unemployed individuals had to make a living for themselves, and many of them immigrated to other parts of the world that valued their services. The problem, Ramon, is this. As those individuals got to these countries, let's use the shithole Australia as an example. As they got to, say, Australia, the Australians started to realize, hey, these South Africans are pretty good, huh? Yeah, let's get more of them. The problem was, they came for the black middle class that was emerging as well. And so now we have a situation that, hey, the whites are left, and now the blacks are being poached by the Western world. So what does that really leave us with?
Yeah, well, this is what I think typically is called the brain drain. So interestingly enough, when the ANC came into power in 1994, the deal was the civil service could be changed after 5 years. So after 5 years, they deployed cadres to the civil service, and they really wanted to build this middle class, as you rightly said, Byron. The problem is, the salary bill of the civil service is immense. The salary bill of municipalities is immense. There are literally 40,000 people working for the city of Johannesburg, and apparently none of them can fix a crack in the road. I mean, let's call it what it is. Bree Street is a huge hole in the road. In any normal country, that could be fixed very, very swiftly. But here, people draw massive salaries, provide no value whatsoever, and therefore what the ANC wants to do is hire retired engineers on contract to fix what the city can't fix. This is not a very patriotic party, this ANC. This is not how you run a country.
The ANC is finding itself in a difficult position. It came into power in 1994 because of the Tripartite Alliance. That's the alliance between the trade unions and the communists. They've had to give a shitload of say-so to the trade unions over time. And what they've got is they found themselves with a gradual degree of creep. The trade unions now have significant sway over government policy. And let's face it, you know it's a nice grift, Ramon. Let's have above inflation pay rises and less than above inflation working conditions. What you've effectively got is you've got a bloated state that is being controlled by unions. Every time the ANC tries to make the individuals actually work, they strike and burn shit down. Every time they try to curve the public state bill, they strike and burn shit down. The problem inevitably comes now that you've actually got a civil service that's not terribly keen to actually do their work. And the ANC, is, to a large degree, is powerless to do anything about it. Can't really fire them.
If you are a retired engineer and you hear this call from the city of Joburg or the city of Durban asking for your expertise in fixing the mess the ANC has created, should you go? And I'm going to say absolutely bloody not. You should not go under any circumstances to help the people that put you out of a job in the very first place. Unless, of course, you go, but you tie conditions to that.
Those conditions, ladies and gentlemen, could look like this. How about you do away with BE? You apply degrees of meritocracy. Those individuals could restructure the labour bargain, and they could get themselves back into the civil service as we reassert degrees of meritocracy on the country as a whole. Meritocracy as a whole would really solve a lot of things. but I can't really see the ANC going for it. The reason for that is, as they apply degrees of meritocracy, the problem is that the individuals that are there aren't really there on the basis of meritocracy themselves. So you would basically end up having a very functioning new class come in, going to war with a very useless class that's already there. I can't see that being a good outcome.
But more importantly, you notice the ANC loves BEE and cadet deployment until it's no longer required in an emergency. That is the inherent irony of this particular story. Things gone to shit, let's call in the white civil engineers to fix it. What happened to BE, guys? Mr. ANC, what happened to cadet deployment? Oh, it's what? It's not, you don't actually believe in it anymore when there's an emergency. Use that to leverage yourself. Simple as that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before you sit there and going, you guys are racist. The point is that a lot of the white engineers had many years to hone their skill. Many of them participated in the building of the infrastructure in the first place. The point there being, that's kind of the kind of skill that you don't just want to chuck to the roadside. You want to keep on holding onto that skill for as long as possible. It's a skill that can't be replaced, no matter how you try to force it. What's happened is you force the skill. The knowledge hasn't been obtained. Now you need it. So now you're going back to those individuals going, we discarded you like you were nothing. Turns out you're actually really valuable to the infrastructure. That is really the argument. The argument is you can't just discard people, make them leave, immigrate, give up on their infrastructure, destroy their family lives, ruin them economically, and then go back to them when your failed policies don't produce the results you want. That's really the ultimate argument. But that's why the whole merging of skill and the idea of skill gaining should have been more slow, more gradual, and more considered. Had we done it in a proper manner, yes, the black middle class may not have emerged as fast as it has, but the infrastructure would have been managed a hell of a lot better. And to a large degree, a lot of the infrastructure that is now aged and decaying wouldn't really have gone to shit like it has. This is a result of trying to force an emergence.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a meritocratic, relatively competent civil service is what makes a country a country. If it doesn't exist, well, it just becomes a mafia wasteland, very much like South Africa. So, the morning shot tip of the week is, if you do go to help Joburg or Durban, just use a bit of leverage and try to get a full-time job there. Let's elevate ourselves rather than denigrate ourselves.